What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Hey! Welcome into episode 144, everybody. I am your host, Sleazeball. Today's episode will be my Week 11 smash starts, 8 players, so 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, and one of the tight ends you have to pay attention to at the end because I'm going to give you some different information about it. Before we dive into it, guys, make sure you smash that like. Make sure you hit that subscription. Turn that bell on. I will be live tomorrow before the game. I'll be live all weekend long with different content creators, different shows, covering everything fantasy football for you guys. And if you can't make it into the live shows, you can always drop any questions you have in the comments down below. One of my goals is to answer every single one of them, no matter what. It does not have to pertain to this video, to get you that weekly win and get you that ultimate goal of a championship, guys. And let's dive into my Week 11 smash starts. And these players will be outside the top 10. So they're not players that are like a top 5 overall player where I'm like, just start the superstar. So these are going to be legit smash starts, and let's dive into it. So starting off with my first smash player of the week, it's going to be Anthony Richardson. I know it's crazy. Rename the starter. Who knows what the Colts are doing? They named Joe Flacco the starter before during the week, and all of a sudden today we get the update that Anthony Richardson is now the starter. So I'm thinking ownership just went to Steichen and they were like, here's the deal, man. We need our rookie quarterback, our franchise to be out there, and let's just ride it out and see how it goes, which is what they should have been doing the whole time, honestly. Now, so for Anthony Richardson, QB 30, so outside the top 10 overall. That's what I'm doing with smash starts here. 958 passing yards, 4 pass TDs, 7 interceptions. Got to clean that up. He's got to start reading the defenses better. But 242 rush yards and 1 touchdown. Now, you get the New York Jets, and I know the New York Jets defense on paper looks good, but they have not been playing good. So currently right now, the New York Jets give up 14.9 points to the quarterback, which is 14th. They rank 10th in the red zone. They give up 189.7 pass yards per game, but where they get beat a lot is by a rushing quarterback. And look what happened last week with Kyler Murray. So they must have saw this upstairs, watched some tape on it, and be like, hey, we're not going to be able to get Joe Flacco out of the pocket here. Let's look at the same game script that Kyler Murray did, where he just dropped 30 fantasy points on the Jets last week in a big win for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, Michael Pittman, we don't know if he's going to be out there. Josh Downs will be out there. You'll have Jonathan Taylor healthy. You have a very good offensive line. You have possibility of Adonai Mitchell, who's breaking out, who looked good last week. So he has the weapons around him, and the New York Jets offense is struggling, and I expect Anthony Richardson to come off the bye and have a superhuman game. I know it's going to sound crazy, but I'm taking the shot here as a smash start for Anthony Richardson against the New York Jets this week. My second smash QB of the week is going to be Russell Wilson, and it's still crazy to me that he's only owned in 22% of Yahoo leagues, which is absolutely bonkers, guys. So Russell Wilson, currently QB 34, outside the top 10 overall, only been in there 3 games, 737 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick, even some rushing yards with 13, and another touchdown there when he snuck it in from the 1-yard line. But what you're looking at here is 26 points, 15 points, 19.10 points. So averaging around 18 to 19 points a game in fantasy football right now. And you get the Baltimore Ravens, guys. Oh my. The Baltimore Ravens give up 22.2 points per game to the quarterback, which is 31st, second last. They rank 24th in the red zone. They give up 314 pass yards per game because this defense stops the run. That is also dead last. And they give up a possibility of a passing touchdown at a 2.1 rate, 2.1 per game to a wide receiver, which is dead last as well. And then you head over to the wide receiver side and how bad this defense struggles. The Baltimore Ravens rank 32nd versus the wide receiver. So 31st versus the quarterback, 32nd versus the wide receiver. They give up 45.3 points to the wide receiver position. They give up 8 points a game in the red zone to the wide receiver, which is 30th, so third worst, and 199 pass yards just to the wide receiver position with 1.6 touchdowns to the wide receiver a game. This is going to be the absolute smash George Pickens, smash Russell Wilson. I will get to George Pickens later in this video as well. He's going to be on here as well. I mean, I want Pickens and I want Russell Wilson in almost every single lineup that I have this week. They're going to absolutely destroy in fantasy football. Heading over to the running back side, my third smash player and my first running back is going to be Kenneth the K9 Walker. So came off 72% of snaps. That was in week 9. They got the bye. They're getting healthier. They are going to run into the 49ers in a major division rival game. But the 49ers, they struggle versus the running back. They rank 20th on the season, giving up 23.4 points per game to the running back position. And they rank 30th in the red zone, giving up 8.9 to the running back. The touchdown upside is very high. They only allow 81.4 yards in total of the game rushing, which is top 15 there. But the struggle part is always the red zone for them. They give up a touchdown a game to the running back right now. Kenneth Walker now is also going to have DK Metcalf back. So if you look at what's happened here over the season. So week 7 is when DK goes down. He has 22 points in that game against Atlanta, okay? Then he plays Buffalo, 6 points. Then he plays the Rams, 13 points. So big down scope without DK Metcalf out there. And then if you look to how it was when DK Metcalf was out there from before, 32 points, 20 points, 11 points, 17 points. So an average of 18 to 20 points a game. This is going to be a monster game here for the Seahawks versus the 49ers, especially in the NFC West with the Arizona Cardinals 6-4, Niners 5-4, Seattle 4-5, Rams 4-5. Every team is fighting for their life this week in the NFC West, and I expect the Seattle Seahawks to feed Kenneth the K9 Walker this week as a smash play. My second running back smash play of the week is going to be David Montgomery. Now, I know it's crazy that he's on this list, but he is RB14 outside the top 10 overall. Only played 40% of the snaps last week, which is crazy to me, against the Houston Texans. I knew they threw 5 picks in that game, so it's a little skewed at how you look at the offensive snap share there. But even when you're looking at the season, this guy's done it with such minimal snap share, 40%, 50%, 40%, 50%, 31, 39, 48. So they are in a full committee running back between him and Gibbs, Sonic and Knuckles, the best duo in the NFL pretty much. Still averaging 15.4 points per game, 122 attempts, 520 rushes, about a 4.49 average, even getting receiving work, 18 receptions, 185 yards, and 8 rushing touchdowns. Every time they get to the red zone, this guy is going to score. You have the fantasy football pot of gold here with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are led by Mac Jones. I mean, this is going to be an absolute blowout for the Lions. The Jaguars defense ranks 30th. They give up 27.1 points per game to the running back position. They rank 31st in the red zone, giving up 9.5, so you can almost lock in a Montgomery TD. 96.8 yards was middle of the pack there, and a rushing touchdown a game to the running back position. And you saw Mac Jones last week. You know how this game is going to go. You know the Lions are going to get up, and you know they're going to pound Gibbs and Montgomery all the way in this game. And I expect David Montgomery to have a 20-point game here, and I would start him as a top 10 running back this week. Heading over to my wide receivers. It is going to be my smash player number 5. I talked about it when I talked about Russell Wilson. It's going to be George Pickens. So 81% snap share. I forgot to change that in week 10 last week versus Washington. Wide receiver 18 overall, so outside the top 10 there. 65 targets, 40 receptions, because the quarterback play from Justin Fields, you can see the difference of target to reception catch rate there. 639 receiving yards, negative 10 rushing yards, had a rush go backwards, but at least you like to see that he's getting the rushes, and 2 touchdowns in the past 3 games. So what you're looking at here is what's happened since Russell Wilson has come in. So the New York Jets, he destroys the New York Jets for 22.6. He has the Giants dead to right. He gets 10 points against the Giants, but he had 2 touchdowns called back. So he literally could have 4 touchdowns in 3 games. And then last week versus Washington, the diving catch in the back of the end zone, 18 points there and a touchdown as well. And like I said, you get the Baltimore Ravens, guys. And we talked about this with Russell Wilson earlier in the video. This is the worst team versus the wide receiver. 32nd. They give up 45.3 points. They give up 30. They're 30th in the red zone, giving up 8 points a game. 199.2 receiving yards and 1.6 touchdowns to the wide receiver a game. You can book George Pickens, and I have him as my wide receiver 6. He is in my baller tier of my wide receiver rankings video for the first time. George Pickens is going to absolutely feast this week. Smash player number 6, wide receiver 2. You should be starting over tons of wide receivers this week, and I've been saying it literally since week 7, is Calvin Ridley. And look at the snap share, 93% snap share, 94% snap share the week before that. He never comes off the field, averaging 11.7 fantasy points per game. But what you have to look at here is DeAndre Hopkins was gone in week 8, traded away, right? And all of a sudden, I told you guys, buy low, Calvin Ridley, buy low, buy low. What does he do? He goes for 20 points. He goes for 9 points. He goes for 24.5 points last week. He is averaging right now 18 fantasy points per game since DeAndre Hopkins' exit. He also has 32 targets in the past 3 games, so averaging about 10.7, 10.8 targets per game, which is what you want, and averaging 100 yards a game in the past 3. So, and now the matchup, you're going to get the Minnesota Vikings. But first, let's talk about what he's done in the season. So he's wide receiver 26 overall, so outside the top 10 there. 68 targets, 32 receptions. You can see the bad quarterback play that's killing him with, target reception. He should not be 30-plus targets over under a 50% rate. 483 receiving yards, even 32 rushing yards. You like that. Even at the age of 29, he's still getting carries out there. 3 total touchdowns on the season. And, guys, you get the Minnesota Vikings here. The Minnesota Vikings currently ranked 30th versus the wide receiver, giving up 39.5 points per game. So right there, you're looking at a Calvin Ridley monster game. 28th in the red zone, giving up 7.8. Okay, so he got his touchdown last week. You know he's going to be their red zone threat. They give up 178 pass yards to the wide receiver position alone, which is bottom 3 in the NFL. And they give up 1 touchdown a game to the wide, or 1.1 to the wide receiver position. And when you're looking at this game, the Minnesota Vikings are going to have their plethora of weapons. They were supposed to destroy Jacksonville last week. That didn't happen. So I could see them bouncing back here, getting a big lead on the Titans possibly in this game. And you're going to be playing from behind for the rest of the season, pretty much for every single game for the Tennessee Titans. So if you did not go get Calvin Ridley, it's probably too late now. But if you can still trade for him, say someone's roster stacked or they don't really believe in him, you have to go get this man because volume is king in fantasy football. And this guy is going to see top 5 wide receiver volume for the rest of the season. And that is absolutely bonkers that people still question Calvin Ridley. So go get this man, start this man, and you can pop any question you want about wide receivers over who I'd start him with. But I love Calvin Ridley this week and the rest of the way this season. Smash player number 7, and my first tight end of the smash plays this week is going to be Dalton Kincaid. And this is what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, is you're going to have to pay attention to his injury updates. So currently right now, he did not practice. Today is the update right now. But he tried to come back into the game last week. He only played 24% of the snaps. You can see there at the top. He's averaging 8.2 points per game. He's tied in 12, so outside the top 10 overall there. 59 receptions, 34 yards, 34 receptions, 356 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, biggest game of the year, Kansas City Chiefs, a chance to upset their 9-0 season. I know that the matchup is beautiful, guys, right? So the Kansas City Chiefs rank 32nd versus the tight end. That is dead last. 16.4 points per game they give up to the tight end position. They give up 77.6 yards to the tight end position, which is also dead last. Now, a 0.3 touchdown a game. So they stingy up in the red zone. They're one of the top run-Ds. That's what happens in the NFL. When you're a good run-D, you're usually very good in the red zone because their front 7, everything gets smaller and they get better. So now, in this game, if Dalton Kincaid is not out there, I am 100% willing to put Dawson Knox, who is probably on your waiver wire right now. He was on my waiver wire video as someone to target, especially if you own Dalton Kincaid. So if he misses, Dawson Knox now steps into the role, and he had a nice little game last week. He stepped in, had 40 yards, which is, not a lot of yards for him compared to his season that he's had. And again, you get all these matchups with the Kansas City Chiefs that are absolutely beautiful. And we know Keon Coleman's out, and we know Amari Cooper may not be in this game as well. So you're literally going to have the focal point probably be Dawson Knox or Curtis Samuel or Dalton Kincaid and Curtis Samuel, depending on if Dalton Kincaid is out there or if Dawson Knox is out there. And this is going to be an absolute smash play at tight end, guys. Make sure you have Dawson Knox if you have Dalton Kincaid as well on your roster. Last but not least, smash player number 8, tight end number 2 is going to be David Njoku. So tight end 12 outside the top 10 there. 59 targets, 34 receptions, 356 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, played 77% of the snaps in week 9. They had the bye in week 10. So he has been banged up at the beginning of the season. So getting the bye is probably going to help him here a little bit. But what you have to look at here is, I know you got Jameis Winston at quarterback. And I know he's going to be slinging it all over the yard. Tillman's targets are through the roof. Jerry Judy's targets are even going up. David Njoku's targets are going up. And now you play the New Orleans Saints, who have literally fire sold. They got rid of Lattimore, that's going to open up things for Tillman as well here. And I know the Saints got their big win with the new head coach here. But what you have to look at here is the New Orleans Saints ranked 17th versus the tight end. They give up 11 points a game. So right there's your little outlier for Njoku. And when I'm looking at their red zone stats, yeah, they are number 8 in the red zone versus the tight end. But this man is an absolute beast at 6'4", 250. I don't look at red zone defenses like it even stops him unless they just full double or triple him, and bracket him over top because he's so big. They also give up 56 yards, which is bottom 10 in the NFL there, and a .1 TD, which is, again, I'm saying they're very good in the red zone. But I don't think that's going to matter with David Njoku. I had this massive back pain that's just making it hard to breathe. It's crazy. And in this game, do we think that this is going to be a high-scoring game? When you're looking at over-unders and everything like that, and both these teams are 2-7, 3-7, I mean, you've got to start leaning on your superstar player here. And I think Njoku is going to be an absolute smash this week with a possible 20-point game. Hey! Thanks for rocking with me today. That is the end of the episode. That is my 8 smash players that are outside the top 10 overall at their position. 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. Before we head out, guys, again, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Make sure you smash that subscription. Turn that bell on. It helps me out a ton. I cannot thank you guys enough for all the support. I've been grinding through it today. My back is messed up. It's messing up my voice and everything. So I'm trying to get as much as I can out today for you guys, even though it freaking hurts, man. So if you guys can't make, I'll be live tomorrow also 2 hours before kickoff. And if you guys can't make any of the lives, you can ask any question you want. One of my goals is to answer every single one of them. So fire away if you have any starts, sits, trades, because possibly everyone's trade deadline is week 11 in most of my leagues. So if you need to make a move, drop it in there. I'll try to help you guys with whatever I can. And that's it for me. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Sleazeball out.